3IW. I'm back.
Okay, Dave. Whoa, you hear me all right?
I hear you kind of light.
Well, I'm on the vertical. My dipole's getting into my wife's TV upstairs, so I'm going to key down. And she usually don't ever do this, but she said, well, I key down, the TV goes black. So I switched over to, I can turn it down, go back to the dipole, turn it down about 100 watts. It doesn't bother me.
Mine used to turn the oven on if I was on 40 meters, especially 40 meters. It would turn my oven on upstairs. Fortunately, it didn't bring the temperature up, but it came on waiting for a temperature command.
Well, I'm down on 70. I'll be back in a minute. Get in there and tell them clowns that y'all were up here. They'll come on up. Any for you, sir.
Come on back.
I heard you down on 70, Keith. I guess you done moved back before I got hold of it, before I called you.
Yeah. Why didn't everybody come back? I thought y'all done checked out. I was trying to catch you before you got gone.
Yeah, they still there. Johnny went to get his some ice cream. I'll be back any for him, say.
Well, if he's gonna eat the ice cream, he can sit up here and listen and eat it.
Roger that. He probably had it each time I get back.
Yeah, Dave, what's think how you putting up a new antenna or something? Yeah, that was the plan. I wanted to build a big square loop, but man, I got this tree right in the road. It's just making things difficult. So I thought, well, I can square it off somewhat, but basically it'd be a big delta loop. But the way I wanted to feed it, I had a buddy that feeds his loops with 2 pieces of coax, on the 4-to-1 or on the back of his balance tuner. He grounds the shield there and puts the center conductor on the lead, both of them, but you leave the ground open at the top, up at the feed point. I'm trying to think the pros and cons of that. I think it comes out to about 200 ohms doing it like that versus like 450 ribbon or 600 for the 6-inch space, 5-inch space, whatever it is. But I wanted to know what your thoughts were on that. Are you talking about PMP at the feed point? Well, I mean, is there a loss? In other words, let's say I ran two 13s all the way to the feed point, right out of the tuner. Ground the shield at the tuner, leave it open, the shield open at the top. Use the center conductors. And I talked to this other fella and he said it's about 200 ohms. Well, man, my other question is, because it's shielded, is it, I don't know. It's going to be a square? It's going to be a square? Well, preferably it'll be a square loop cut for 80. I want to use it everywhere. That's why I'm looking for an Intel tuner. It's quick and it'll tune wherever I want. At any rate, my question primarily was, would you use, I have plenty of coax. I have a roll of, it's not the greatest. I can see the dielectric through the braid on it, but it's counting it's Radio Shack, probably like RG8X, somewhere in those lines. It's not overly braided, you know what I mean? closed loop except where you feed it? Yeah, it'll be closed loop. In other words, a dead short, a great big dead short. Yeah, okay, see, this is just the only two broken places is going to be where you're going to feed it. Roger, roger. That's going to be pretty high impedance, but it won't be as high as if it one side was open. Some people, they'll have the side lobes for maximum radiation. They'll leave I'm not sure what type of loop per square you're going to put up, but if it's going to be square loop or circular loop, but it just depends there. I'd have to get that little bit of thought here. There's a formula for that. Well, yeah, I'm not real great on the formulas and all that, but I was thought, well, I'll just ask around. I asked this guy, he's very knowledgeable, but he did say it's about 200 ohms at the tuner. You know, I mean, for whatever it's cut for. In other words, let's say you cut it for 80, it's 500-600 feet, whatever it works out to. Somebody tuning up on me. That's been going on up here. Somebody starts tuning up on people up here. It's been going on the past couple of hours. I don't know what's got into people. But anyhow, yeah, you say 200 ohms, that's what somebody told you. And you got cheap, I guess cheap Radio Shack cable, and you're just gonna run two pieces of cable to feed it, you're just gonna use the braid. I'm gonna use the center conductors to feed it. In other words, it'll be Faraday shielded all the way to the antenna. Like ground the shield at the tuner and then put the center conductor in my ports off the tuner or the 4-to-1 mount or whatever. I was going to stick a 4-to-1 down here on the ground, although I have a great big 1-to-1 common mode DX engineering choke that you can bring twin lead into, bladder line into, and then run a short hunk of coax end of the house to the tuner. Go ahead. Yeah, Roger. So you're going to be Faraday shielding. You're going to use the two center conductors to tie into the feed point, correct? Roger. Yeah, and the shield will be cut back out there. It won't go, it won't come out of the insulation. But just the center conductors will come out, and that's what I'll screw the wire to, through the insulator and all that crap. Yeah, that'll work. I don't know about a 1-to-1, but could be a higher impedance. I know a 4-to-1 would work, but a 6-to-1 might work better. But I know a 4-to-1 would work on that if it can handle the current. I don't know how much power you're going to be putting on it. I got a kilowatt amp here. I'm thinking about buying the MFG 998. It's very wide banded. It does not have the 4-to-1 in it like the 300-watt version. I have the 300 Intel MFJ. Man, that thing is just wonderful. But, and it was actually soldered well, and the bolts were tight when I got it. I hear a lot of horror stories on that MFJ stuff, but the design of it's really excellent. Yeah, Roger. What's the wavelength gonna be for the loop? You just gonna run it on all bands with the tuner? Yeah, that was the intent. Cut it for 80. I got a good 160 amp squares of the loop and all that crap. I mean, it's under control, but I got a daggum tree in my way, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get around it right. Anyway, it could end up being a three-legged delta loop, you know, at the same length. Oh, really, sure. Them delta loops work really good. But you're gonna, this loop will be horizontal. The way you're gonna put it, it's gonna be a horizontal. It's not gonna be like, so it's like some people put up a delta loop. Some put them up vertical with the longer part of the triangle at the ground and the point at the top or the point at the bottom with the biggest part of the triangle, you know, at the top and the two sides coming down to a feed point, you know. You're not gonna put it up vertical, you're just gonna put it up horizontal, the square. It's gonna be a square loop. Roger, roger, roger. You gonna tie your two shields together on both ends? Just to the tuner. Oh, just to the tuner, okay. Hey, you leave the shield. You don't use the shield at the top. You just leave it, you know, back behind the jacket. Like cut it back, leave the dielectric hang out, then peel off some of that, use that for, you know, to get to the wire.
Any 4NC.
Okay, but I don't see why it wouldn't work there. It's that'd be interesting to know what's the true impedance at the feed point, but I know it'll work, especially if you use a 4-to-1, a good current. The current type belt don't have much loss in it. Don't get, as long as you don't saturate that cord, it'll work great. NC was in there, I think. Hang on one second. Yeah, I have a good 4-to-1 Ballon design. It's like the hybrid. I think it's 2 kilowatt, but it's got a choke built right in it. And then I can bring, you know, put that down at the ground if I need to, and just run a short pigtail into the tuner. Or I could bring the whole dang works in, but the 998 doesn't have a 4-to-1 built in it like the 300-watt version. It has it already built in, which is no problem. I can just buy another one, or I'm using the hybrid now on my off-center fed, and that thing works great. I got no RF issues, even on 15 meters. Which is not really, all center feds don't really work too well there, but anyhow. Well, let me let that other call go. NA4 ENC? That's Law. Hey, good morning, Law.
Yeah, good morning. Y'all carry on. I was just letting you know I was here.
I just want to tell him one more thing. I'll let you pick it up, Law. Anybody else want to come in there? Yeah, it'll be 200 ohm or less, 200 ohms or less at the feed point. And if you use a 4-to-1, you know, 4 times 50, that'd be around 200 ohms. But it'll be less than 200 ohms at the feed point. But that 4-to-1 will work great. I'm going to look up to analyzer. I mean, I can figure that out, but yeah, I know it's going to change on every band and all that. I do have a big manual tuner here. It's very broad-banded, but ladder line. Higher velocity factor, much higher velocity factor, less loss, and of course you know the true impedance versus some old coax cable. You know what I'm saying? You know the true impedance of it and everything. But the time, I mean, let's see, it's still gonna function. Well, you'd have to spiral if you could spiral that 450. Spiral the 450 somewhat coming from the bellum. If you don't have the bellum out there at the antenna, you know, you could have the bellum right behind the tuner, and the ladder line would be part of the antenna also. I bet this thing work on, depending on the length of that cable, that thing might work on 160. Right. Oh shoot, I forgot what I was gonna say here. Okay, you think of it in a minute there, Dave. But you putting out a heck of a signal, man. You got one of the better sounding stations on the air now. I run about 80 couple watts. Is that all you run is 80 watts? Yes, sir. Not quite even 80. How come you ain't running the afterburner? Well, I didn't think I needed it. I was talking to Dan. Everybody sounds strong. I can turn it on. Do I need to? What's my report? He's almost 20 over. I'm used to seeing you 30 over. I'm running third of the power. I think he's pulling our legs. I think so too. That ain't no 80 watts, Dave. I'm here in South Georgia. That's more than 80 watts. Andy, I would not bull crap you. Here, I'm going to turn it down to, there's 40 watts. I could tell difference. It must be some kind of special ionosphere or something, because, man, that's unbelievable, 40 watts. I'm around 100. Do you hear me okay? Yeah, you're 20 over. Let's see, 10 over. You're 20 over. Well, switch it on, Dave. Let's see what you're doing. Run your drive down and then switch that amp on a minute. Let's see what you're running with the amp, about 500-600 watts. I don't even have it turned on, kid. You don't have it turned on? No, I didn't turn it on. The band sounded good. I thought, well, I ought to be able to talk with 100 watts. This 80-meter dipole, I got it cornered, and it points right down at you guys. And it's amazing down that way. And it works well into Europe. Well, there you go. Well, you're 20 over on me. And I've got a pretty tight estimator. Well, anyhow, let's see, did you say something?
No, I just checked in. Y'all go ahead.
You're 30 over, Lowell.
Well, I'm running 500 watts. But I appreciate the flowers.
25 over up here in PA, Lowell.
Yeah, well, you're 10 over on me.
Did you hear me?
You was dabbling, Lowell, and Randy was dabbling, I think. I mean, Danny and Lowell was dabbling, I think.
Hey, can you hear my 40 watts?
I hear you on 40 watts, Danny.
Okay, go ahead, Fred.
I hear you fine on 40 watts.
Well, that's what I'd be running, 40 watts. WA4BLP.
Oh, what are you running now?
40 watts, 40 watts.
Yeah, I thought that's what you said. Okay, yeah, no